get you, Mrs. Caldwell?
Oh, I'm just having a ponder.
And why not?
Well, you see, I'm planning something special for Randall's dinner.
Oh, what?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm having to ponder. Is there any of that stuff left over from from your mum's sale?
Well, I have got a load of murderous thoughts.
I think we've still got some tins of clam juice.
Oh, yes, how about a nice tin of clam juice?
Oh, what's clam juice when it's at home?
Well, it's, you know, it's juices of the clams. Haven't you seen that advert on the telly? I'm only here for the clam juice.
Well, it's shellfish, Mrs. Caldwell. A bit like oysters, only it makes a lovely soup. Clam chowder.
Oh, that's what they're always eating on American films, isn't it? I never knew what it meant.
Well, I bet Handel's noshed a few clam chowders in his time.
How much are you asking for them?
One and nine, aren't you? That's giving them away.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want you to give it away, Irma. I'd much rather pay, a shilling.
Oh, I don't think we could drop it to a shilling, could we? No.
Do you mind if I say something, speaking as a customer? When you go to buy, use your eyes and not your ears.
That's a bit of a mind-bender, Mrs. Caldwell. What does it mean?
Well, it means that you've got a counter full of clam juice and I've got a shilling in my purse. Thank you very much.
Bye, Mrs. Caldwell.
Ta-ra, Mrs. Clegg.
Well, I say one thing. You've got to hand it to her.
I'll say another, we just did. Oh, no, look at this lot, honestly. When have I got a long lunch hour?
Tomorrow. You're going somewhere?
Well, I thought if it was a nice day, I might go round and throttle my mother.
Morning, men.
You got a good answer to that?
No.
Well, chuck some at him.
Oh, talking about money.
Oh, who's talking about money?
Irma, if you want me, I'll be in the back.
Right. Thanks, Maggie.
It still stands, does it, this partnership thing with Maggie?
Yeah, she's chucked a little mint balls now. She knows. She's got used to the idea, you know.
Oh, I was just checking, before I go around and give my mate the buzz about the money.
Yeah, Billy, I've been thinking, this mate of yours, what is he?
He's straight, love. Don't get your knickers in a twist. He's in the wholesale meat game. He's loaded. He just likes a nice, safe investment, that's all.
There you are. 10 bob towards our next night out on the town.
You've been cutting down on something?
Yes, nights out on the town. How did you do with Lucille last night?
Oh, fine, thanks.
Where'd you go?
We went to this den of iniquity.
Den of iniquity?
Yeah.
Well, it keeps them off the streets, doesn't
No,
it?
it's a disco place in Manchester.
You know we ought to try these discotheques, love. We don't know what we're missing.
I'll tell you what we're missing. Slowly going deaf in a dark cellar.
You know we are at an awkward age. Too old for discotheques and too young for bingo. I must go, love.
Bye.
See you later, Mark.
Yeah, then. Have a good day.
You know, I think I'd have been going to discotheques once upon a time. Gene Krupa now, he could make a right din in his time.
Who?
Gene Krupa... he was a drummer. Sort of went out with ration books. Woody Herman, Bob Crosby, and Elsie stopped waffling on. And did you have a good time with Lucille last night?
No, not really.
Well, you just told your dad you did.
Well, he was rushing out. I didn't want to go into it. Not that there's anything to go into.
I see. Well, what happened?
Well, nothing actually happened.
Or did you have words then?
No. We just didn't get on, we didn't gel.
Ah, I see. Well, never mind, Mark. That's the way it goes.
She's a funny sort of girl, though, isn't she? I mean, she's all right when you first meet her, but when you get to know her a bit...
I don't quite know what you mean. I mean, I've known her all her life.
Well, perhaps it's different for you.
Well, I don't know, Mark. How do you feel? I mean, what is all this about when you get to know her?
Well, she strikes me she's the sort of girl that would say things behind your back. Things which aren't necessarily true. I don't know, it's just a feeling. Dare I ask for another cup of tea?
7 bottles of whiskey, bracket, scotch, close bracket.
1, 2, 3, 4. About 4.5 bottles.
I'm afraid, Mrs. Turpin, that a stock count is a precise science and not open to conjecture. Either we have 4.5 bottles of scotch, or we don't have 4.5 bottles of scotch.
We have about 4.5 bottles of scotch, Mrs. Walker, which may be denoted on the stock sheet as 4.5 bottles, brackets, approximately, close brackets.
You know, Billy dear, you should try a gargle for that throat of yours last thing before retiring and first thing on rising in the morning. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Mrs. Turpin was teaching me something about stock-taking, which I must have overlooked in my brief 30 years in the licensing trade. Are you away, love?
Yes.
Have a good night out on the towels, then.
Oh, like forget it.
Well, if you will, go cradle snatching.
Cradle snatching? That flaming object.
By object, you don't mean Mark, do you?
Yes.
Look, Lucille, you should consider your words more carefully. I'm very surprised at you and disappointed. A nice, pleasant young man like Mark.
Yes, well, if nice, pleasant young Mark was the last lad on earth, your disappointing Lucille will be the last person in the queue.
That girl would tax the patience of a saint. She certainly taxes mine.
Why, because you didn't take to the lad?
Because I happen to have been instrumental in getting Mark to take her out. Well, she's been out with another of the other sort, and don't ask me what I mean by that, Billy.
Well, what sort is Mark exactly?
A far more desirable companion than most of the others.
And how do you arrive at that, seeing as how Lucille's the only one that's been out with him?
It is arrived at by observing behaviour and appearance. And a certain flair I have for assessing character.
Hello, I'm glad I found you in.
Oh, hello, Mr. Tatlock.
Are you on your own? By the left. I'll have to sit down. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, are you all right, Mr. Tatlock?
Oh, I'm a lot better. I've come round a lot since I heard.
Would you like a cup of tea?
No, thanks, love. No, I reckon you'd better sit down, too.
Why, has something happened? It's not Ina, is it?
Oh, no, it's not like that. Damn sight worse, if anything.
Oh?
Yeah, so I'll come straight to the point. You see, I've always been one that's rushed bald-headed into things. It might be a bit blunt sometimes, but I reckon if there's out to be said, it's better to come right out with it. I've always lived by calling a spade a spade. Where were I?
Coming straight to the point.
Oh, why? Well, I've just heard from certain sources a bit of disturbing news.
Oh, I see.
But you don't. You don't see at all, because you are the victim of the deception. You're being deceived, downright dowdily deceived.
Oh, is it anyone I know?
Look, it's that handled Garside, that's who it is.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry, love, but I felt duty-bound to tell you.
Well, he told me his wife was dead.
Eh?
Well, it is his wife, isn't it? It's not another woman.
Oh, it's got naught to do with women.
But you told me I was being deceived.
Minnie Caldwell, you are in the clutches of a conscientious objector.
Handler?
Yeah, he's played you for a right potato and no mistake. A conscientious objector.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, of course you didn't. He's not going to tell you that he were one of them cowards that ignored Kitchener's call for king and country. Cowards can't stand contempt, you know, no matter how fully justified.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion, Mr. Tatlock, but I don't share it.
Oh, what the heck are you talking about? She's not an opinion, it's a fact.
No, it's not. It's an opinion, and I've got mine.
Oh, and what is it?
The same as Armistead's. He used to say that conscientious objectors had the courage of their convictions, and they were prepared to be put in prison for them.
Look, being in prison were like a billet in Blighty compared to the comforts of a trench. And if you call that courage, what do you think them lads were using out there on the Somme and at Passchendaele and God knows where else?
Hello, Minnie. Morning, Mr. Tatlock.
Look, millions died for a war to end wars and make this country a fit for heroes to live in. And folks like him were sitting on the backside waiting to collect the lot.
Oh, it all happened such a long, long time ago, Albert. I see no good coming of raking up the old bitterness.
Look, as long as it's in living memories, I don't care two tin fiddles how long ago it were. It's as clear as yesterday to me because I did naught to be ashamed of.
Well, I know we won, only I've never really been quite sure of what it was we won.
The war.
It didn't end wars, though, did it? And it didn't really make a land fit for heroes to live in.
Oh, I know. I've heard all that about fellas dying for nought.
Oh, our Mr. Ed used to be very upset about that. He knew a little poem about a battle hundreds of years ago.
Look, the song's got nought to do with little poems.
What good of it came in the end, said little Peterkin. Well, that I cannot tell, said he, but was a famous victory.
Why? Aye. Oh, very clever. Very, very clever indeed. Now, look, I can't recite poems, but I can sing It's a Long, Long Way to Tipperary without the words sticking in me gullet. And that belongs to you.
He came to tell me you were a conscientious objector.
Yes, I believe I did mention it. It must be getting on for 60 years ago.
Oh, well, don't dwell on it. Mr. Tatlock's been living on his war years ever since I can remember. It's just as if he'd never known anything else.
He does, doesn't he? Huh. I've been awarded another white feather. By the heck. I'll have the set in a bit.
Well, give that to me. And now you shoo off and don't come back until 1 o'clock. I've got a surprise for you.
What sort of surprise?
1 o'clock.
Right.
Do you think you can squeeze another cup of tea out of that pot?
Well, what do you make of it?
Not much, apart from the fact that they don't seem to take a shine for one another.
Well, Lucille's exact word were, "He's horrible," and I can't tell you the wealth of feeling she put into that.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound to me much of an ordinary girl of her age would say. Grief without tears, that's what they say, isn't it?
I don't know, Mrs. Sharples. I wish I did.
Well, I didn't think for 1 second that it would take Enid Sharples to tell how satanic it was about that sort of thing.
Well, it's the old rigmarole that's got me, Bud. I think it's got something to do with Mark hinting that Lucille might talk behind his back. I'm baffled.
And biased.
What do you mean?
All you've said so far seems to support everything Lucille said.
You mean you're on Mark's side?
Oh, it's a Roland for an Oliver, lass.
It's a what, huh?
6 of one and half a dozen of the other. No, the interesting thing that comes out of this is you're siding with Lucille, and that's worth a bit of thought.
Sorry.
It's not a riddle, Marie, love, it's just a theory.
Oh, well, at least it's somewhat. All I come out with are blanks.
Well, let's just say, for argument's sake, that you're not exactly pleased with the young lad's, what shall we call it, presence, intrusion?
Oh, I don't think so, Mrs. Sharples.
All right. Is it possible that you resent his coming? I don't mean deliberately, but whether you want to or not.
You mean subconsciously?
That's it. I knew there was a fancy word for it.
Well, you mean, as far as Mark's concerned, I want him to be in the wrong.
Oh, if ifs and ands were pots and pans, just let's say it's possible.
Yeah? Yeah, Mrs. Sharples, it could be possible. Deep down in the dark recess...
Look, I've been closer to Lucille than most, and I'm very fond of her. I'm very fond of her indeed, but I'm not blind to the fact that that girl knows how to start a rumour when she's a mind to. Audrey Fleming and that niece of yours had a basin full.
Yeah, I know. Well...
Well, that's where you say, thanks very much, Mrs. Sharples, you've been very helpful.
Thanks very much, Mrs. Sharples, you've been very helpful.
And I say, well, that's what we're here for, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't help feeling there's more to it than that, though. I'm sure it's not all my subconscious. You know, underneath... I'm sorry, I'm starting all over again, aren't I?
And we'd still reach the same conclusion.
All right. Hello.
Viola.
No, I think the word you want is voila, love.
Oh, sorry. Voila.
Well, looks good. Smells good, and by golly, what the hell is it?
Oh, well, Handel knows what it is, don't you, Handel?
Oh, yes, I know what that is. Let's just see if Billy knows.
Well, it looks a bit too thick to drink, a bit too thin to chew. Hey, it's not quick-setting semolina, is it?
It's clam chowder.
There you are, clam chowder.
Well, Handel will have had a lot of clam chowders, won't you?
Oh, a fair smattering, Minnie, a fair smattering.
Well, I did it as a surprise for you.
Oh, you shouldn't have gone to all that trouble.
Hey, is this the first time you've knocked one of these up, Min?
Yes.
Well, come on then, Handel. If it's got our number on it, it's a great way to go.
What do you keep having private little jokes for?
Yeah. I've just had a great meal at Min's. Clam chowder a la Caldwell. It must have set her back a bomb.
You'd be surprised.
Are you fit?
As a butcher's dog, a lady dog.
Oh, sup up and we'll go.
Sup up?
I always was a smooth talker.
Do you think Omar Sharif ever says sup up?
Don't be daft, he's an Arab. They don't have any thup to thup up with.
Where are you shooting off to, then?
Smithfield Meat Market.
No, seriously.
See, nobody believes a liar even when he does speak the truth. Come on.
See ya. See ya.
Afternoon, Mrs. Walker, Mrs. Turpin. Hello, Lucille. Everything all right?
No, suddenly I feel sick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like a drink? Might settle your stomach.
You know what you are? You're spooky. That's what you are, spooky.
Sorry?
No, spooky.
Goodness knows I'm
Something.
reasonable,
Yes.
Lucille.
What?
But I do think you might make a concession to courtesy
Courtesy?
by keeping a civil tongue in your head.
You're on his side, aren't you?
It's no question of taking sides, but I'm tempted to do so in the face of your behaviour.
Thank you very much.
No, miss. I'll thank you to refrain from childish outbursts and not make Mark the object of a verbal vendetta. Either end it or mend it.
If it was up to me, Auntie Annie, I'd exterminate it.
I'm dreadfully sorry, Mark. I really must apologise for Lucille's behaviour, though, frankly, I'm loath to apologise on behalf of that young madam.
Well, perhaps I'm to blame. I don't know what it was I did or said, but it must have been very serious to make Lucille so upset.
Oh, I doubt if you've anything to reproach yourself with.
Well, I don't think she'd listen to me. But if you could apologise for whatever it was, I'd be deeply grateful, Mrs. Walker.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Now, that's what I call a polite, considerate and well-mannered young man.
Oh, he's a nice boy, Mrs. Sharples. He really is.
Yeah, he's almost too good to be true.
Look, as young lads go today, there's nothing wrong with them. And as young lasses go, she's all right, too. I don't understand why you're getting so upset because I've had a bit of a squabble.
I don't know. I wish I did. It's as daft as that.
Elsie, let me ask you something.
No, before you do, let me ask you something. Something that's been bothering me.
What?
Does Mark like me? Has he said so?
Yes, he likes you.
Well, has he said that to you?
Look, I think he's gone overboard for you. I think he more than likes you. All right? Do you like him? Do you get on all right?
Yes. Yes, I think we get on all right, but do you ever get the impression that I resent his presence?
That you do?
Yeah, in a sort of, subconscious way.
No. No, I never get the impression that you... I don't know, whatever it was.
That's all right. You've answered my question.
Listen, I feel like blowing some of that money we've spent on a night out tonight. What do you say?
You're on.
Right.
Hello, Dad.
Hello.
Elsie?
Mark, do you mind being left to your own devices tonight, Elsie? And I thought we might go out.
Oh, no, I'll be all right. You going somewhere special?
No, I don't think so. Going clubbing's a little expensive, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what I haven't done in a very long time?
What?
Sat in the back row of the pictures. Well, you're never too old, are you?
Oh, the soda bike will start to work in a second or two.
Well, it's time-honoured and tested for this sort of task.
Oh, and I am sorry.
You've nothing to reproach yourself with.
Well, it can only be my cooking that gave you heartburn.
Now, that's one suggestion I'm not prepared to entertain. I had a meal in a million, a real feast.
But it still gave you heartburn.
Only because my tummy must have had a bit of a shock to see such good food coming down the tube. Ooh, that's an improvement. God heals and the doctor takes the fee.
Has it gone?
It's going. Now, come on, love. You've been on your feet for hours. Sit down for a bit.
Oh, well, I suppose I can leave the washing up for a while.
Oh, we'll soon polish that off. I'm a dab hand when it comes to drying.
Oh, no, I wouldn't allow you to dry the dishes after I've invited you to dinner.
You know, Minnie, you're one of the grandest persons I've ever known.
Oh, I'm not really. I'm stiff with faults when you get to know me.
There's only one that springs to mind, and that's running yourself down when there's no cause.
Well, it's very nice of you to say so, only I do have a lot of faults.
There you go. You're doing it again, running yourself down.
Sorry.
There's another thing I'd like to mention, but I'm afraid of hurting your feelings.
You didn't really take to me clam chowder, did you? Only, you see, I had to use cod instead of pilchards
I
on
meant
account...
every syllable of every word that I had a meal in a million.
Oh, well, I enjoyed it, and it was no bother.
Or perhaps it's because I'm not much of a one for a fuss. Invitations to dinner, best bibs and tuckers and all that.
Oh, I thought you'd like it.
You know, Minnie, I'd rather be your friend than your guest. Well, I mean, friends can call at any time, can't they? And I'd feel much more at home with you. And I hope you'd feel more at home with me. So let's start from now on a fresh footing. You wash, and I'll dry.
Well, how'd you make out?
Just call me partner.
You got the money then from Mr. what's his name?
Bill Sweeney. We're all barring a few formalities.
And there should be enough to pay off Dave Smith and all.
Well, we're proper partners then.
Just put it there.
Well, I think we ought to have a drink on it.
I'll drink to that.
Oh. Is, port all right?
Is that the complete range?
Afraid so.
Oh, well, any old port in a storm. Hey, that's not bad for off the cuff, is it?
What? It's side splitting.
Do you mind if I say something?
Try stopping
No, if I say something about partnership, speaking from my vast experience. See, I think the rot always sets in when one partner thinks that the other partner isn't pulling his weight. Well, that's today's little gem.
Right, well, what shall we drink to? The future?
Well, how about a toast to, one day at a time?
One day at a time.
The Duke of Lancaster.
I'm waiting out here for a bit of service.
Oh, the phantom foghorn strikes again.
I've been stood out there that was 2 stone stomachs while you were in here drinking.
Celebrating, Mrs. Sharples. Me and Irma's just become 50-50 partners in the shop.
Oh, I see.
You got time for a glass of port, Mr. Sharples?
I'll not refuse.
Billy, I've not thanked you properly, have I yet? Well, you know, for getting me the loan and that.
Well, here's wishing you both very well in your new business arrangement. All the very best now.
Thanks. Same to you, Mrs. Sharples.
What do you mean? Thank me properly.
Well, there's a bit on account.
What? You don't mind my being here, do you?
Not at all, love. The place will be all yours in a few minutes.
No. I mean, you don't mind me staying here with you and my dad. I mean, I know I've mentioned this before, but...
Oh, why should I mind? What made you ask?
Oh, I don't know. It's just a feeling. I can't put it into words.
I think you and me have the same problem, Mark.
My dad?
Plus a feeling of something that we can't put into words. You know, I think the trouble is we need time to get it to know each other. That's it. The whole trouble is time.
Well, I hope you and my dad have a good time tonight. Oh, by the way, I was right about Lucille.
She's been on at me all day to apologise for that crawling gut's ache. Mark, of the beast.
Well, I don't know. He seems a very nice lad to me.
That's all I keep hearing. Nice lad. Nice lad. Do you think I'm telling lies?
Oh, don't involve me, love. Mrs. Walker's in a pink fit over you and Mark.
I didn't say that. I said, do you think I'm telling lies?
Look, if my Cyril had to answer that question, I know exactly what he'd say. He'd say it takes 2 to tango.
Evening, Mrs. Sharples.
Good evening. You want to give your coat a flick, you've got a feather stuck on it.
Oh, it's pinned on.
Well, I knew feathers was back in fashion, but that's straight off a pigeon.
It's a sort of medal.
Excuse me, but I won't be seen in the company of a conchi. You ought to come round to Flying Horse sometime. There's 3 North staffs, 2 bantams, and a couple of Lancashire Fusiliers do the drinking, do you?
You sure, Mrs. Sharples?
Yes, please. I was just watching your son with young Irma there. I think there's something blossoming between those two.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, I've been watching them mooning at one another for a day or 2 now. I'm very pleased. I think they'll make a lovely couple.
In your realms of fantasy, perhaps, Mrs. Sharples. But down here on Earth, over my dead body.